Hey guys, it's Mike, and in this video we're going to go over how to insert and format slides. So the first thing I'm going to show you is how to insert a new slide layout and where to insert it. So on your exam you might be asked to insert a slide between slides 2 and 3. That means that we're going to click on slide 2 and the new slide is going to come after slide 2. So we click on slide 2 and then you click the new slide drop arrow. And then you might be asked to insert a certain layout. So there's a few good ones here. If you're having a title slide, there's that option. Title and content, which is just your basic slide if you had just a few key points. And then to content if you have like a picture and maybe a graph or another object. And a comparison if you're comparing two pictures and that sort of thing. So, or if you're doing a huge picture, you can just use a blank layout. So let's say we do the to content layout, so we're going to click on that one, and then we've added our new slide in between the old slides 2 and 3, and this becomes a new slide 3. And if you really like this layout, you can also duplicate it. So let's say if I really like this slide 2, there's a way to duplicate a slide, and then maybe I'll add new information on this one just kind of with the same format. You can also hide or unhide slides, so that's something you'll also be asked on your exam. So if I wanted to hide this last one, maybe if I want to save it for another presentation but I don't want to show it to the one that I'm currently doing, I could right click and then select hide slide. And then if I wanted to undo that, I would just do the same thing. So I would right click on this slide and then click hide slide. See how it's faded right now, which means it's hidden from the presentation. If I was to go in presentation mode, this fifth slide wouldn't show. And if I click hide slide again, it comes back. So you can hide or unhide any slides. You can also delete slides. So if I want to delete this one that we created, the duplicate, I would right click and then just click delete. And you can also change the order just simply by dragging these slides wherever you want them to go. Maybe I want this slide 3 to be the new slide 2. I would just move it up, bump it up, and rearrange it just like that. Now I'm also going to show you how to make changes to a certain slide versus changing something about the whole presentation. So for this slide 2, if I started creating, or actually let's take one that I've already built, slide 3. So just because this is designed the way it is doesn't mean I can't change it and by changing the layout. So if I click on slide 3 and then I wouldn't click new slide, but instead I would click the layout. And then I have my layout options. You can see right now title and content is highlighted, but maybe I want to do content with a caption, and that's what that would look like. Or maybe title and to content. So maybe I have my principles here. I've had the planning process or the process here, and then maybe I want to show a picture or a graph beside it. So this would be, instead of just title and content, this is the title and to content layout option, and that's how you would change. If you were asked to change the layout of a certain slide, that's how you would do it. So instead of saying new slide, you would do the layout options up here. So you might also want to change the background of one certain slide versus the whole presentation. And sometimes I have students that want to change just one background of one slide, and what ends up happening is the whole slide or the presentation changes. So I'll show you what I mean in the design tab. So when I go to the design tab, let's say I highlighted slide 3 and I'm thinking, okay, this blue color right here, this would be great for that slide. It looks really cool. And I want this slide to be a little bit different and stand out from the other ones. So if I pick banded, I might want to change the design of slide 3. But what happens is it changes the design of your whole presentation to match that theme. So I'll undo that, and instead there's a few options that you have if you want to change just the background of slide 3. So if I click on slide 3, and if I want that design that comes with this banded theme, I can right click on it and I see the default option is to apply to all slides, but maybe I want to say apply to selected slides. So I've selected slide 3 and now I've only applied it to this slide. So that's how you can change the design quickly of one slide. And you also have further options here if you choose like a variant. Maybe I like this orange variant of the banded theme. And you can also do, when you go to format background, you can choose a solid picture or solid color fill background. So that would be solid fill and then just choose the color here. Maybe I wanted to go back to my blue. something like that, or a text picture or texture fill. Pictures look nice in a background, and this texture works really well with our design that we have going. So this is the texture, and this is the virus one. You can do, like if you had a swim school one, you can do water droplets and that sort of thing, but this sort of works for our presentation, so I'm going to keep that texture there. And that's how you would alter the background of one slide versus altering the background of the whole presentation. Now, one last thing I want to show you is how to insert headers, footers, and page numbers, and you can have the option to add these to one single slide or the whole presentation. So I'll show you where to go. We go to the Insert tab, so if you click on that and then go to the header and footer, this will open a few options for you. So this will open up the header and footer dialog box, and if you're doing notes and handouts, if you're asked to do notes and handouts, it has a similar option, but make sure you're on the slide if you want some of these options to show up on your slides or your notes and handout pages that you might print to an audience. So slide option, or the slide tab, is selected, and then I can put the date and the time, whether it's update automatically, which means every time you save the presentation it'll update to the current date, or a fixed time, maybe showing when you created the presentation and is always going to stay on that date. There's that option, but I'm going to say let's leave the date and time out of this presentation and just add slide numbers. Now there's an option a lot of people do where they don't show the title slide number, because that's something that you want to present when everyone's kind of walking into your presentation, so you might not want the slide number on that one. And to do that, you would take off don't show on title slide, and maybe you want a footer as well. So let's call this the insert design process, or yeah, just call it design process. That's kind of the overall theme. Now I have slide 3 selected just like I did in my previous examples. So if I was just applying this footer to design, or sorry, to the design of slide 3, I would just press apply. But if I want to apply this to the whole presentation, the slide numbers and footer, I would click on apply to all, and with this option selected, it wouldn't show up on the title slide. So if I say apply to all, you can see that the footer and page number or slide number is applied to all the slides except anything with a title slide. So this one doesn't show up because it's, even though it's not the actual title slide, it's the title slide layout. So if I was to do any kind of other layout from here on in, if I added a new slide, it would show the slide number and our footer that we created.